RT is outside the Capitol building in Madison, Wisconsin, where protests have entered their second week. This Saturday, as many as 70,000 people were here to demonstrate in outrage. Now, there's still thousands of people here who say they won't go away until the governor of the state resigns. The reason all of these people came out here in the first place is because Scott Walker, the governor of Wisconsin, wants to introduce a bill that would significantly cut the paychecks of state workers, as well as get rid of many of the benefits that labor unions have been fighting for decades in this country. State Republicans, led by the governor, say the bill has to be introduced to fill enormous budget gaps. But the people are saying, why at this expense? If there was enough money to bail out Wall Street, why do the workers have to lose their rights? Now, many of the Democrats have actually fled the Capitol building to block the vote. But the governor says if the bill isn't passed soon, as many as 1,500 jobs will be lost in the state. There's a sign right here that says no firearms allowed. And it's interesting that many of the mainstream news networks in the United States have been saying that the reason the sign was put up here because many of the protesters were really acting inadequately. But what we've learned on the ground is that the sign appeared here as many as 5 days into the demonstrations when the Tea Party movement showed up in Madison. What is going on inside the parliament is absolutely unprecedented. We're being told that Wisconsin has never seen protests like this, with thousands of people having taken over the Capitol building, and they're saying they won't leave until their loud voices are heard. This Tuesday, the Republicans of the Wisconsin Senate wanted to vote on the bill, even though the Democrats have fled the building, with marches all over the parliament of the state. That looks very, very unlikely to take place in the days to come. Up on those screens right there, we see live footage of Republicans trying to vote in the Wisconsin State Assembly. That's the lower house of Parliament. They have enough of a quorum to pass the bill in the lower chamber of Parliament, even with the Democrats not being there. But with all of these people having gathered here, it becomes quite obvious that this is no longer a struggle between Republicans or Democrats. It's about people taking over what they believe they deserve, who are tired of decisions being made for them in an already difficult economic situation. People who support the demonstrators have been bringing in and donating food, apples, bananas, corn. We have pizza boxes piling up over here for those people who have been staying here for days. There are pillows right here on the ground for those who are planning to spend the night here. Some people have been staying here with babies to get their message across. And of course, over here, mattresses piling up for those who have been spending several nights here and continue to remain here until the bill is completely out of the picture. Anastasia Churkina, RT, Madison, Wisconsin.
Hello everyone, welcome to Global Government News. Today is Wednesday, February 23rd, 2011, and I'm Darko. Welcome everyone to this news bulletin. We're going to cover a lot of the economy. We just checked out what's going on in Wisconsin. And if you're a new viewer or listener, I usually start out by plugging my website, www.ggnonline.com. That's ggnonline.com. I usually post a poll up here, and right now it's what are the chances of the U.S. government actually shutting down in the next month? And so far it's 40%, will never happen, followed by somewhat likely and very likely. So you can go and check that out. Over here is a news archive. You have all my videos here. And all the videos that I post, along with my YouTube channel, DDarko2012 on YouTube, you can check out here and rate the videos and that. But anyways, we're going to move on to Wall Street. And this first article that we have up here is Wall Street tumbles as oil hits $100. Tech shares drop. Stocks accelerate their slide, tumbling for a second day on Wednesday as Libya's violence pushed oil prices to $100 a barrel and tech shares sank, fueling worry of a market correction. And we have Wall Street shares fall sharply amid Libyan unrest. And market comment, Europe stocks end lower as Libya worries escalate. So it says here, European stocks ended lower Tuesday, extending the previous session's heavy losses as turmoil in Libya escalated and crude oil prices extended their rise. And then we have commodities, and here's just a chart showing you all the way from, almost of last year in March. And here we are in February 2011, and commodities aren't looking too good as far as the average consumer goes. These are all the changes, all in the green. That means that they're all up. You have natural gas up. You have heating oil up $11. And then gas oil, Brent crude is up $5.63. It's now at $101 a barrel, guys. And we'll get more into the gas. We have the cocoa futures, $45 change. Coffee's down, which is good. Corn is up $12. Soy's up $20. And then we move down to gold. Gold is up $8.90. It's now at $1,410. It was at $1,400. Silver at $33. Man, silver just in 2008 when I bought some, it was at $8 an ounce. So, and it was up 47 cents an ounce. Okay, we're going to move on into, we just covered gold, but it says gold gains 1% on Libya tensions, market jitters. It said gold rose to its highest in more than 7 weeks on Wednesday, closing in on a record high as escalating unrest in Libya and soaring crude oil prices fueled fears of inflation and stalled global economic recovery. And we're going to move on here to the euro and the Swiss franc. Euro, Swiss franc, best dollar. The dollar fell to the multi-week lows against the euro and the Swiss franc as traders ignored stronger than expected U.S. existing home sales, continue to take their cues from European central bank policy in the Middle East turmoil. Treasuries gain as investors shun risk. Says here the U.S. government bond prices rallied after a decent sale of 2-year notes, which was helped by concerns about escalating tensions in the Middle East. Then we have investors pull assets from muni funds for a 14th straight week. Lipper says investors withdrew about $974 million from U.S. municipal bond mutual funds this week, the 14th straight period of withdrawals, Lipper U.S. fund flows said yesterday. And as far as treasury bonds go and the Chinese, I was just looking at a chart yesterday on a video that an individual produced. He has his own company, a financial investing company, and he's pretty much predicting what a decent amount of people out there are predicting, but you won't hear in the mainstream, which is there is going to be a humongous change or transition coming as far as the reserve currency and the dollar basically being dumped completely. And you have China up until the end of last year was buying up all these treasury bonds, but since the end of last year they have been dumping them since every month. And what the Fed is doing is not going to help the situation. Printing money, it will only prolong basically the collapse of the U.S. dollar. And it's going to be crap, and it's going to be very, very bad because everything right now is traded in U.S. dollars when it comes to oil. So everybody has to trade into U.S. dollars in order to get that oil, and everybody's just saying screw the dollar. And there's even places in the U.S. I was seeing where they have pictures in the doorway where they're accepting euros instead of U.S. dollars, and then you can go to like Mexico and Amsterdam and you can't even get your money exchanged. If you can, there's very few places that will accept U.S. dollars now. So a lot of stuff's going on. Swiss franc is a good reserve currency to get into. Swiss franc gains on Libya turmoil, U.S. dollar falls along with the Canadian dollar. That's a good reserve currency to get into. Oil climbs above $110 on Libya unrest. We go to Press TV. Fuel prices hit records in Britain. Britain is just feeling the pinch right now, just like the people in Wisconsin, but they really are up in Britain, man. Britain is on the verge of an impending fuel crisis with petrol and diesel prices soaring to an all-time high, says monitoring group the AA. $5 gas. Get ready to pay an arm and a leg for gasoline. And it goes on here, and it says that Libya is the 17th largest oil producer on the globe, and it has the biggest proven oil reserves on the continent of Africa. And it says Libya only produces about 2% of the oil in the world, but with global supply so tight at the moment, even a minor production disruption can have a dramatic impact. And don't forget Venezuela. Venezuela is going to be going through a regime change as well, along with Iran. So you can expect gas prices for the U.S. to hit $5. I'm pretty sure what I was looking at was as far as the gas prices that you pay at the pump in other countries was in gallons, and I believe they're paying around $6. They've been paying around $6, Canada $3 for a long time now. So the U.S. has been very, very lucky. That's what I was saying, with having the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency. And we're going to move down here. It says Saudi Arabia also produces 8.4 million barrels a day and produces more oil than anyone else in OPEC. And it says if revolution strikes in Saudi Arabia and a major production disruption happens, it could be catastrophic. And it says if David Rosenberg, the chief economist at Gluskin Schiff and Associates, is warning that if a major civil unrest in Saudi Arabia would happen, it would end up seeing oil go to $200 a barrel. If Libya can spark a $10 a barrel response, imagine what a similar uprising in Saudi Arabia could unleash. Do the math. We'd be talking about $200 a barrel. So you can check that out. Saudi Arabia uprising could mean $140 plus oil. The events unfolding in Libya mark the uprising in the major oil producing country this year, giving energy traders their first indication of where crude could climb if Mideast turmoil could spread to Saudi Arabia or Iran. That's what I was saying, Iran. So. And same quote in there. You can check that out. All the links will be posted, and all these videos that I do, if you go to the YouTube, the actual YouTube video on the YouTube's website, you can see all the links are posted. And this is a news bulletin, so I post mostly headlines. I'll cover the headlines, and then I post the links, just like a bulletin. So I recommend you go in there and check them out. It says if Libyan unrest spreads, gas could reach $5 a barrel, and this is what we were just covering. Consumer confidence hits 3-year high. I don't know why, but consumer confidence rose in February to its highest point in 3 years. Maybe it's because it wasn't that high to begin with, right? As Americans feel more optimistic about their income prospects and their direction of the economy is heading, a private research group reported Tuesday. So, which is a bunch of BS because they have nothing to be confident about, right? Their futures, their pensions, their investments are all going to be wiped out. Our dollar is going to basically go kaput, and yet the mainstream media, they just don't want to talk about it. I mean, they'll mention the day-to-day stuff, but in the long run, they don't show you the bigger picture. In a sign of growth, businesses are borrowing again. So see, they're getting suckered back in. This is what it was. I wrote in these little flyers. I handed out and put it on people's cars and parking lots in my neighborhood that people are going to get suckered back into it after they just got raped basically financially, and within a couple of years, they'll start lending again. But like I said, eventually when that dollar collapses, you can be rest assured that you won't be able to get a loan at all. Businesses won't be able to get loans to be able to stock the shelves. All the fuel prices will go up. Travel expenses for all those trucks that drive on the road are going to go up. I mean, it's going to get ugly. Cocoa at 32-year high. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just basically trying to paint this picture right now. All this stuff is really just kind of a culmination of what's going on in the Middle East and what the powers that be really want. Cocoa prices surged to 32-year peaks after an internationally recognized president of Ivory Coast extended a ban on the export of the key ingredient in chocolate. So, wheat collapsing as protests prompt speculators to desert food. Wheat fell for the third day in its biggest collapse since 2008, and rice fell as traders speculated that riots in North Africa and the Middle East will curb demand from regions buying 32% of global shipments. And then airlines may rise surcharge to offset rising fuel costs. Then we have Walmart domestic sales dip again, shares down. Shares of Walmart stores fell nearly 4% in early trade after the world's largest retailer, a 7th straight quarterly decline in U.S. comparable store sales, saying that some of the pricing and merchandising issues ran deeper than initially expected. So, and that's right, their prices are going up even at Walmart, and that was predicted a couple years ago. Walmart says need more time to fix U.S. missteps. Walmart stores failed to meet its promise of reigniting sales as its U.S. stores, a disappointment for a new leadership team charged with turning things around in the face of pressure from even cheaper discounters. And then look at this. Carrefour, Walmart fined 9.5 million won for cheating Chinese consumers. So it says 19 stores at Walmart in China were fined for cheating consumers over prices. You can check this out. All links are posted, like I said. Please join me in part 2 of this news bulletin. This is GGN, and I'm Darko. Thank you.